Try again. Finally got the last couple of brackets laser cut for the rear push rod. Where are we? Oh, here we go. And dozen or so of those made. I only need 4 for the car, but price to get multiples made is darn sight cheaper. So bent them with the jig again, just drilled another couple of holes on the far side, the right pitch, curve round, clamp, bang, nice and simple. So now we have all 3 mounting brackets that need to be made. So now we have, if I can keep this steady enough, a moving push rod. So you can see now all the suspension is now working. There we go. So all the brackets made, all only tacked together at this point. Toe in arm, obviously left and right-handed, so we can adjust it out. Obviously left and right-handed threads on a push rod as well, so you can, tweak the suspension height without having to worry too much about the actual spring position. You can tweak this, half an inch or so. So you've got multiple points of adjustment on the rear suspension. Toe in nice and simple. Camber obviously with the rod end here. You're limited to a half inch to I think it's an 18 tooth thread, 18 TPI. So you're limited in camber adjustments basically to if you double that, because you can turn the rod end either way up, you're limited to 1/32 of an inch adjustment on the rear camber, which is enough. Over the distance that I've got there, it's plenty enough. I think it's about 0.15 of a degree camber per increment in, and that's good enough. On the front, I want to dial in a little bit more. I haven't got the ratio of height between the top and bottom ball joints, so basically I'm going to make a steel sleeve though, so I can make the front camber infinitely adjustable. You can buy the aluminium ones, but to be honest, on a car I don't want it ever to go wrong. I'd sooner make it out of steel. And for that extra, I don't know, 80 grams or whatever it's going to be, what the hell. So wishbones all tacked, both sides. Taking a wheelbase point of view from the line that gives the exact wheelbase straight up, we're within about 1/10 thou on both sides. That might alter slightly once the wishbones are welded, but if it's altered a millimetre, then so be it. It's not really that much of an issue. Pretty much at the moment we're virtually dead on. So I've got everything welded now, all the gearbox frames altered and modified to the new Geo, wishbones, push rods, new diagonal brace. Pretty much the back end chassis part of the car is really ready again from welding. Poor old front chassis kind of got some surface rust going on, so kind of tempted before I do the rest of the mods to it. Mods being obviously the diagonal, so I'm going to take out and put a double V, and the front suspension and stuff. That's all, unfortunately, it's all coming out. These tubes are being replaced, as is this one. These we already did. The top section of here and the pickup points here are all in the right place, but the bottom's quite a bit different. This pickup point here moves about 30 millimeters further out. Well, that kind of won't go with that. So basically, this radiator front mounts changed anyway. Rack mounts we've changed anyway. So all of these bottom section here, including those 2 tubes there, will all be taken out, and we'll be putting in. Basically, instead of having a straight line from here, come all the way down, it'll come to here, and then it'll come out at a slightly lesser angle and come out there to accommodate the new slightly short. Well, actually, the bottom wishbone is identical to the original Geo because we've used the Z06 front wheels. The ET and the offset, basically the hub has moved out 30 millimeters, and I've kept the bottom wishbone length the same. I think the top one's just a tad shorter, but not much. basically to get the roll centers how I wanted them. So, so basically all the front will be next. This is going to be chopped out, that. Basically everything kind of from there down at the front goes. I'll keep the original plate so I can block those holes off. This hole's going to be 30mm over, that's not really an issue. Probably cover that front wall in a sheet of aluminium or whatever, so it wouldn't really, you won't notice those holes there. So pretty much the front end's first. Still to and froing as to whether to use inboard. I've got a couple of designs that seem to work on paper, but I just don't know whether I want to put the effort in at the moment to go that far. And they're all an increase in weight. Really, you can't get a huge amount lighter than this piece of, 2.5mm thick piece there with a couple of tubes. Really, and a couple of tabs on the lower suspension. You end up still with the lower tabs on the lower suspension arm, so that stays the same as far as weight's concerned. But basically, you take out 1, 2, 3, 4 small tubes, 2 brackets, and you add the rockers. By the time you add the structure you've got to put in the bottom to mount the 2 shock absorbers coming from here up in kind of V formation. By the time you add all the bits and pieces on, you definitely added probably at least, I would say, 4 kilos to the front of the car. Not a huge detriment, I know, but I really want to get things moving forward on this. I don't really want to be dragging my heels anymore. Money's not as much of an issue at this point. I've got lots of stuff to do, and there's not a huge amount of costs. There's just some material cost involved. So I really want to push in the front, but I really want to. Well, we had to modify a few things. That's got to come out. That's got to come out, and just do it as it is. To the actual final tubing here to rebrace the centerpiece here, which the air conditioning unit was in the way of. So I think the new tube's going to start in the center and come out about 2 or 3 inches down from the top here, and then we're going to brace forward to there. That's about the only tubes that goes back into that to give you the rigidity back into here. That's about it for the moment. So quite happy with the rear. We're making progress. We've got the uprights, we've got the hubs, got the wheels, got the brakes, blah blah blah. So pretty much I'm just a pair of drive shafts away from the rear really being pretty damn close. Well, obviously the shock absorbers, but once I do the front suspension, then I'll order the shocks, just to be 100% confirmation of which way I'm going with the front. If I use the rockers, obviously, then I can run a slightly longer travel shock absorber by ratioing it up like I've done on the rear. Obviously, the 2 points here again. That's about this does 4 inches of travel in suspension height to about 3.2 inches of travel on the shock absorber there. And if I flick it to here, it'll effectively stiffen the car up because technically it makes 4 inches of travel on the rear. So if I want to stiffen the rear up, I just take it. So I've got the bolts out, but there you go. That's what we've done today and yesterday. Okay.